The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Ramadan Mubarak, peace be unto you. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad. Welcome to Liberated Sisters, broadcasting live right here at Morris Media Studios in the Great Leimert Park. And, of course, we're on our Facebook page, but that's MorrisMediaLive.com. MorrisMediaLive.com. Please spread that. Today's show, we welcome John Parker, activist, international activist, coordinator of the Harriet Tubman Center right in Los Angeles. And we're talking about Hands Off Venezuela, the crisis in Venezuela. And also, you know, we are still Farrakhan. First, the Justice Report. Today's Justice Report, straight from the Final Call newspaper at finalcall.com. We have Reparations 2020. There it is, our cover story by Brother Brian 18X Crawford. Brother Brian talks about hashtag ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves, its origins, troublesome ties, and fear that it's dividing black folk in the fight for reparations. You can read that cover story at finalcall.com. It goes into the history of this organization and its activism or its work on social media, which also at first appears to be advocacy work, but at the end of the day, it's a divide and conquer strategy. That's by Brother Brian X. Crawford. Now, pardon me, 18X Crawford. Shout out to you, Brother Brian, and thank you all at the Final Call, our great staff there. Our publisher is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Also, National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America. They're having their meeting in Detroit this June 20th through the 23rd. This story is by Sister Shakir Muhammad. In COBRA, the National Coalition for Blacks for Reparations in America, they're hosting the 30th annual. You think about that, 30 years. Fighting for justice, fighting for reparations. This 30th annual national convention is going to be at the Timbuktu Academy of Science and Technology in Detroit. I like that. The Timbuktu Academy of Science and Technology in Detroit. The conference theme is 400 Years of Terror, a debt still owed. And so this will focus on the process of repair after 4 centuries of enslavement. You can read both of those articles and more at the Final Call, finalcall.com. That's today's Justice Report. And now we're going to have the Farrakhan Factor.
I was told to deliver this message. You think you're invincible because you got money, bombs, guns, and planes, killing babies, innocent people. I think you're insane. Chaos and destruction is the name of your game. Somebody's got to stop you before the whole world goes up in flames. So he told me to tell you, I'll fight you.
For my brothers, we can go to war.
Hey, assalamu alaikum again. This is the Farrakhan Factor, our great brother, producer, host of this segment for the Farrakhan Factor, producer rather, Brother Jesse Muhammad, is speaking at a commencement ceremony today. So congratulations to you, Brother Jesse, and the students that's going to get your information and wisdom and knowledge. We look forward to having you back on the Farrakhan Factor next week. But what we have for you today is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan segueing right before our guests. I wanted to just give you some context from our great Minister Farrakhan advising President Donald Trump to leave Venezuela alone. Venezuela has been under a coup. Our guest is going to take us more into that. He's going to talk to us about how it impacts our great nation of Haiti. And so before we hear from Brother John Parker in a minute, let's hear from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
I know America's going to war. But it's a war, President Trump, that you can't win. I know you say you got a lot of juice, $750 billion you're giving to the army, but you're only giving them that which is going to get more of them killed. Let me help you to see. You can win, but you can't win being a thug. You're trying to take Maduro out of office and get control of the largest oil reserve in the world. What kind of president calls somebody in the house of another Guaido and tells him, you can be the next president? But Maduro was voted in. You say, well, it wasn't a free and fair election. Do you remember Jimmy Carter? He'd been watching elections, over 104 of them. And he said, I'm quoting the former president, he said that the voting in Venezuela is some of the best that he has seen in 104 countries where he has looked at elections. Now, I don't know the truth, but I think Jimmy Carter has no reason to lie on Maduro. But you see, when you're a hustler, when you're a thief, when you want to take the oil, remember how the president, when he was running, he said, let's take the oil in Iraq. Take it. See, but your hands will get chopped off today because you're not the power that you think you are. There's a new sheriff in town. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about the two that back me. Now look, I think, Mr. President, you would be wise to leave President Maduro alone. Mr. Bolton, the man with the mustache, he's in a press conference with his sheep, and he's talking about sending 5,000 troops to Colombia, but he don't know that he got the notes so that the media could take a picture of it. Now they're trying to overthrow this man, even if it means sending us to war. I respectfully say to the president, I cannot back you if you're going to send American soldiers to war to die because you want that man out of power and you're meddling in the affairs of his country. I don't think no young soldier should go. Just say, hell no, I won't go. And adopt the Muslim position. We do not believe that we who declared ourselves to be righteous Muslim should be engaged in wars which take the lives of human beings, especially when we have nothing to gain from it. Unless you give us the necessary territory wherein we'll have something to fight for. But to go and spend our lives so you can use their oil and ruin their country? You got over the banking system. You are telling the banks the man got gold in England. He's asking for them to send some of his gold back so that he can turn that gold to feed his people. President sent word, you don't give him nothing. See, you're gangsters.
Gangsters. That's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan speaking at a recent annual Savior's Day convention about Venezuela and the crisis there. And here to take us more into that, because there have been updates. There's been protests at the Venezuelan consulate here in Washington, D.C., and many other things. Again, especially I want to talk about how what's happening has impacted Haiti, is our guest, longtime friend and brother of mine, Brother John Parker. Assalamu alaikum, Brother John.
Oh, peace unto you. Sister Charlene, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor always to be here with
thank you. You always answer the call. Listen, when I call for Final Call sources, not just to interview him, but when we need to get contacts that are the best voices and the experts on issues, Brother John always answers. He always connects me, and I'm forever grateful to you.
Thank you. I just wanted to go off the script for a second in terms of...
have fun. Go
I know
off.
I'm supposed to talk about, but what the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said kind of hit me, because, everybody's got personal experience with young people who want to go into the military, and they see the sports shows, and they think, okay, this is honorable to go into the military and things. And I think people should... I know President Trump's not going to listen to what Honorable Minister Farrakhan has to say, because he can't get beyond his racism, but beyond Trump's racism, according to he can't listen to a black man, any black man.
Correct.
But I think people, especially young people, it's hard to find a job. You're economically desperate and and you feel like, well, maybe I should go into the military. Well, listen to the words, because Honorable Minister Farrakhan is talking about integrity. And there's a moral compass that goes beyond duty to this government, our duty of a soldier. It's an integrity of not being willing to kill for oil or kill for profits, and the sanctity of human life.
Yeah.
And so think about that when you go to that recruiting station. Don't go. Yeah. Like the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, hell no, I won't go. I'm not going to fight for a war that's doing nothing for myself, my community, and just to kill for profits.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Brother John, for your thought about that. And if I may say, you're right on script. Anytime there's something that you see in what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gives us that is something that can be further elaborated on, enlightening, please have at it. It's right on target for me. I'll stop everything and like, what? We talking about the minister? What did he say? It's my life, And as we continue, so share, let's get the update on Venezuela. And I know, again, I want to talk about Haiti, but you don't have to go chronologically. I just want you to really educate us and inform us, those who may not be updated on what's happening there.
Yeah. It's so hard because the media just hides all the most relevant, pertinent information that we need for the struggle, especially, is hidden by the media, and especially when it embarrasses the media. And Trump's a big embarrassment. But what his policies are consistent with from the Democrats and Republicans is a consistent policy to deny people what they need. And what they're trying to do is deny Venezuelan people their sovereignty and their right to have a decent life. So I wanted to go a little bit into the background of what's going on. I mean, most recently...
Like, how did we get here? Huh? Okay, got you.
Most recently, the U.S. has taken over the Venezuelan embassies in New York and other places. Just most recently, May 16th, I think, in Washington, D.C. And the reason for that, we have to go back a little bit into the beginnings of this Bolivarian revolution that started with President Hugo Chavez.
Our brother.
I believe, in 2019. Oh my goodness! I can't remember the dates. I have the wrong dates.
We'll get them.
Yeah. That's, but anyway, because 2002 there was a coup, attempted coup against Hugo Chavez. So anyway, Hugo Chavez was he was trying to make a difference. In the fact that the Bolivarian Revolution was really an attempt by the Venezuelan people, recognizing that this policy of manifest destiny. That says Latin America is the property of the U.S. and that was a recognition that policy is not good for the people of Latin America. And so the people demanded their right to self-determination, sovereignty, a right also recognized by international law. And the U.S. continually violates that international law in order to try to steal resources and things like oil from Venezuela, coltan, and there's a tremendous market and trillions of dollars in profits, the financial and industrial monopolies who actually run this country, that they really drool over those profits. But here's what the Bolivarian Revolution was able to do. 10 years after President Chavez, a lot of great things were happening, especially for the poor. In 1976, they nationalized the oil. But the rich had still hidden lots of the dollars in the Caribbean and the United States. So when Chavez came to power, was elected, he fought against this poverty that the rich had created, and there was a big uneducated population. So 10 years after President Chavez was elected, 60% of the oil revenue went to social programs. They expanded agriculture. They reduced extreme poverty by 50%. And the literacy, that was a real big thing. The United Nations lauded Venezuela for what they did in terms of stopping illiteracy. They did it in 1 year, and that includes people who are in prison as well.
1 year.
1 year. What you can do with the...
We're still grappling.
Yeah. What you can do with the money when it's used by the people.
Wow.
And, in other words, that money was used to go to the rich, began going to the majority, with the emphasis on the poorest in Venezuela. Well, that's bad for profits for the U.S. monopolies. So they had to stop that progress. They had to attempt to stop the progress. And like I said, in 2002, after I think Hugo Chavez had been elected for maybe 2 or 3 years. In 2002, they attempted a coup. The U.S. attempted a coup against Chavez. It failed. But they continued to promote violence and drugs from Colombia to sabotage the Bolivarian Revolution.
You know about that.
They have these sanctions. The sanctions are now, they're taking $30 million a day from the Venezuelan people. It's $23 billion a year. That's what these sanctions, U.S. sanctions and other U.S.-led sanctions are causing. So now the president is Nicolas Maduro, but the mouthpieces of the U.S. ruling class say he's ruined the economy. But what's actually sabotaging the economy, is, like we said, is those sanctions. And there's been many folks from the UN who have said that, who've claimed that one person, Alfred de Zayas, is a UN special official, said last January that the U.S., Canadian, and European Union economic warfare, the sanctions, have killed Venezuelans, falling most heavily on the poorest people. And the sanctions hinder the imports necessary to produce generic medicines and seeds to increase agricultural production. And he even said that perhaps charges should be brought at the International Criminal Court against the folks for doing these sanctions. And there's been other reports about that.
It's like Dare to Dream.
Yeah.
Those definitely should be charges. But how? Who's strong enough to do that when the UN Council is kind of, like all driven by Trump and the U.S. Pardon me, I didn't mean to say Trump. I meant to say the U.S. and Israel.
And there's so many countries that are against these policies. They're isolating themselves. And also, in addition to the economy, since 2014, the oil prices sank about 50%, and Venezuela's economy is very dependent on oil. Not to the fault of the Bolivarian government. This was policies that were created long before Chavez, colonial policies, but they have to deal with that reality. So that's why the economy is where it's at. It's not because of President Maduro or the policies of, they say, the policies of socialism. No, that's not it. It's because of interference by Western imperialism.
Wow. Thank you, John. This is Liberated Sister Charlene Muhammad, streaming live at morrismedialive.com. We're also on my Facebook page. I was going to ask you something when you mentioned the oil, but can you talk about how this delves over into Haiti?
Yeah.
And how this is affecting Haiti?
It's the same thing. It's interesting because one of the people who were in the embassy, there were people who are protecting the embassy right now, what's going on. Well, I'll talk about that later. But one of the things that they said, the reason that they're trying to, in solidarity with Venezuela, is because of what the U.S. did in Honduras, and they can see the results. And what the U.S. did in Haiti as well, when you deny people their sovereignty, and you just allow the Western corporations to come in and have their way, it's devastating for the people. I mean, at some point, people in Haiti were so hungry they're eating dirt. Right now, there's tremendous massacres going on in Haiti, and it's a result of protest against the Moïse government. Now, they had elections. It's so ironic, the hypocritical and ironic of what the U.S. is doing. They're saying that elections, as the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, were the international community, all the international observers said that those elections were so transparent and so fair. And the U.S. is saying that, oh, no, they weren't. But the elections in Haiti, which Moïse is the puppet of the U.S. government. There were elections, but they were fraudulent elections. Yeah. The U.S. was responsible for that. And it's that person who's being protested by the Haitian people right now. And one of the reasons they're protesting is that there's a tremendous amount of money, about $4 billion in Petrocaribe loans from Venezuela to Haiti, which the Moïse government, the puppet of the U.S., took. And it's not allowing to go to the Haitian people. It came after the earthquake.
Yeah, why did they get it?
Yeah,
tell us why did they get it?
President Hugo Chavez, after the earthquake, President Hugo Chavez canceled the debt of the Haitian people, of the Haitian government to Venezuela, and gave this big, huge loan. And the reason he said was because Venezuela owes Haiti a debt. And that debt is because when Haiti had their revolution in 1804, the first successful slave revolution, the first president of Haiti after that slave revolution helped Simón Bolívar, who was the liberator of Latin America. Simón Bolívar. He helped him with soldiers, with training, with all kinds of resources and things. So if it wasn't for the Haitian Revolution, the Latin American liberation wouldn't have happened. Venezuela's liberation wouldn't have happened. Yeah. So Hugo Chavez recognized that. And that's a big part of the Bolivarian Revolution, recognizing the contributions of African people especially.
Come on.
That's what Hugo Chavez was really,
Yeah, that is so beautiful. And I wanted to just add to what you were saying. Jovenel Moïse, pardon me, his government has recently, and this is, I'm reading from Final Call, you can check this article out, Stand with the People's Uprising in Haiti. This article is by the Haiti Action Committee as a guest columnist. They wrote this March, right? And so what I'm highlighting is what Brother John is saying. The Moïse government has recently shown how beholding it is to the Trump regime because it voted to recognize Guaido's self-proclaimed government in Venezuela. And so the committee writes that this is the same State Department that has attempted to convince Haitians that a stolen election, which you're saying equals democracy, is currently rallying against Venezuela's legitimate elected government. So, just the U.S. involvement, as Minister Farrakhan has taught us, the hand in foreign affairs, when we see in our own country religious and faith-based, racist battles and claims, right, against Muslims, for instance. So they hate us because we're wealthy, right? Hate us because we have things, or hate us because of our way of life. It's like, no, the people across the world hate you because what you're doing in their country, which is, as you pointed out, the media is not, you're not going to see that. Yeah. This is why independent media is so important.
Yeah, so important. And it makes sense. It makes dollars and cents why the media doesn't, the corporate media doesn't say this, because they're just like the politicians, just like the presidents. They're bought and paid for by the financial and industrial monopolies that run this country. It's really an oligarchy we have in this country.
Wow.
And they, even if they want to tell the truth, they can't, because they'll risk their financial welfare, their economic welfare.
Yeah.
And they'll just go out of business.
You get taken down.
So I really agree. You're right. We have to look at independent media if we want to find out what's going on. But when you mentioned Juan Guaido, that kind of brings us up to the present in terms of what's going on in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Because Juan Guaido was the one who, they before they had a national assembly, and before the constituent assembly that they just voted for, and you can kind of see the National Assembly. It was just represented the rich in Venezuela, and it was almost 99% white. White-skinned Venezuelans, and Juan Guaido was elected to that body. Now, the Venezuelan people decided that they wanted an assembly that represented the people multinationally. By the way, Venezuela is made up of predominantly people of African and indigenous ethnicity. So that's another reason that the U.S. tries to target it so harshly and so disrespectfully. But Juan Guaido became the opposition in Venezuela, which defied the elections. Now, like we said, these elections were actually very fair and transparent, but he decided not to participate in the elections. But polls showed, and one of the reasons he decided not to participate is that he would have gotten at most maybe around 30-something thousand votes.
Okay.
And, President Maduro got over 67% of the vote.
Just overwhelming.
With more voter participation than in this country or many other European countries. So actually it was more democratic than Western Europe's elections as well.
Or how about ours here? How about, not ours. How about
especially
the US?
In the U.S. I mean, Trump didn't even get elected. He lost by 3 million votes. But the popular vote doesn't count in this country like it does in Venezuela and many other countries. The popular vote gets trumped by the electoral college.
John got jokes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to state right here that I ran for U.S. Senate, and I got about 36,000 votes in 2016. So if Guaido only got 30,000, I got 36,000. I would like to declare myself president of the United States.
President John. But it's ludicrous, though. That's what happened. Why don't you do it? Let's see what happens.
Yeah, right.
I'll be like, yeah.
So the U.S. outrageously claimed that this person, Guaido, is the president of Venezuela. Yeah. Person who's not even popular in Venezuela, and decided to give all of the Venezuelan embassies in the United States over to this person's representatives. And that's why there are people, and my folks from my organization, People's Power Assembly in Baltimore, and there's also Harriet Tubman Solidarity Center in Baltimore. Yeah. That's why they were participating in it. Code Pink, I believe the Answer Coalition, and many other organizations were participating in protecting that embassy.
Yeah, they were all up and through that embassy.
Yeah, and stopping
educating people, too, while they were also protecting it. But go ahead. So I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, and in Washington, D.C., they were trying to prevent the U.S. from taking it over. So 4 people remained in the embassy, and they recently were arrested, I think, on May 16th. And some of them have felony charges against them. So that's a struggle that we have to keep our eyes on as well. But that's why they were there. And it was interesting. Many people were they cut off the electricity, they cut off the food and water, even though the Venezuelan government paid the bills, all full and paid. And even though the Venezuelan government actually asked the people who were protecting the embassy, inside of the embassy, the Venezuelan government asked them to do that. So
gave them
they were
access,
given the keys.
That's right.
To the embassy to protect it from the Trump administration's and things like that. So they were actually the legitimate legal people occupying that embassy. And when the police went in and they just defied all of international laws, long history of international laws that they defied by doing that as well.
So what's happening now? I guess a legal battle for those people that were there protecting it and arrested, but also now that takes the whole the fight to a whole nother level in terms of that embassy in D.C., right?
Yeah, and the New York embassies as well was taken over, and another embassy as well. I think I don't know if they tried to take over the embassy in San Diego or San Francisco yet, but
give them time.
Yeah, but so now there's a legal battle to protect them. And it's interesting because when they first tried to evict the protectors at the embassy, one of the lawyers approached the police and the D.C. police, who have been complicit in all of this, and told them that you're breaking international laws, and your ignorance of the law doesn't stop you from also being tried or being guilty for what you're doing. So they didn't do it right away. They went back and got some advice from there, and then a few days later they came back and evicted. It's really something, like we were saying, the nature of this, the racist nature of these things. You could tell because there was an opposition that the U.S. government encouraged to go there, and some of these think tanks in Washington that support U.S. regime change were there. In fact, Guaido went to Georgetown University, I believe. He went to, so he's been educated here as well. But they were there, and they were just spitting out the most racist, anti-woman, homophobic kind of insults to the people that were there.
So he just got personal with it, down and dirty.
Especially very racist stuff. So he's just, these white folks calling these black folks and other people that were there trying to protect in solidarity. So it really showed the nature of what's going on. And it's interesting that Jesse Jackson came and tried to help deliver food.
I want to show that. Talk about it. Set it up. I need to send it to the poetess. Set it up, John. I saw that. Okay, Rev. Go ahead, Reverend Jackson.
Yeah, so he came, and it's interesting because you see him, the way he's talking, he's having a hard time talking. He thinks, I believe he had just had a stroke or something, but he came anyway and decided to help give the food because they blockaded the food. And that's one of the things that our organization was trying to do. We had a caravan to get food to the embassy protectors. So he was trying to get food up there and things. And some of his security was from this organization called Black Alliance for Peace as well. So there's a lot of black progressive forces that felt that they needed to be in solidarity with the Venezuelan people, and for the reasons I had mentioned before, that's why, especially black and brown people listening to this show, you should be aware that this is an issue not only of sovereignty and things, but it's an issue of fighting racism, fighting white supremacy, and the self-determination of black and brown people.
That's right. Very important. Very important. Were you there when Jackson went?
I wasn't there, but
I'm looking forward
one
still.
of our members, Sharon Black, who's leading that caravan to get food in, was there, and I actually had a live stream.
Oh wow! I want to find it. I just want to share it with the viewers. Talk about, I want you to elaborate on the importance of the solidarity and also give us, how is that going? How is the call for international solidarity with Venezuela going throughout this crisis?
There are so many, it's very heartening. There are lots of, we were able to secure some videos from the Ukraine and from Russia, and from there's some other videos from other people around the world, in Spain and other places, where they were sending their solidarity to the protectors of the Venezuelan embassy. So yeah, worldwide there's support because it's so obvious. I mean, they had elections, they elected someone. The fact that they're trying to build socialism is no excuse for the U.S. to try to deny their right to build socialism.
It's their country.
It's their country. They like the fact that resources should be used for and be in control of the people, not in control of a small minority, which is what capitalism is fights to do. And that's one of the main reasons that the U.S. is so fearful of the example set by Venezuela, because like in Cuba, they don't want that example of socialism, and they want to squash it as soon as they can, because it interrupts their ability to control and have these maximum profits. and
maximum profits, as Minister Farrakhan said, the oil, like the largest oil reserve. It's this fever pitch that we saw with the run-up to the Iraq War. I remember being in Phoenix, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan just took us to school. I mean, the pointer, the board, the maps, everything. Prior to that, I was loopy-eyed trying to figure out what was happening and why was all this fight with Iraq, right? But when he really broke it down and he just pinpointed the oil reserves and how, and also told how this was going to end. So he consistently warns President Donald Trump. He warns you just as he warned President George W. Bush and all of those presidents, as our great sister Vicki Dillard pointed out to you, Angela Rye, the minister has lived through, right? Guided us through, carried us through. We see that happening here with Venezuela. Yeah. So we're going to see, hopefully pretty soon, I sent it to Sister Portis, the Reverend Jackson there. It was good to, it was good to see what's happening out there. This is, this clip is from Rupley, which is a, let's see, looks like it's a news agency, Rupley, but it's about maybe 2-3 minutes. Okay, good. Yeah, so we'll play it in a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about some of the protests of what's been happening here in our local area.
Oh, okay.
L.A.
Oh, yeah. Well, there are a lot of protests leading up to before they attempted to take over the embassy and things. Because
one's coming up regarding Haiti.
Oh, in Haiti, yes.
Yeah,
there's a demonstration too. There's a forum.
Let me post that. Okay.
Because, like you said, you can't depend on the media to get the information of what's really going out to happen. So we have to rely on
Liberated Sisters.
And Liberated Sisters, that's right.
Studios.
This media. And the organizations that have been in the forefront of trying to defend the sovereignty of the Haitian people.
That's right. Long time.
Yeah. And one of them is Global Women's Strike. And Global Women's Strike and the Haiti Action Committee, which we were getting the news report from, they are initiating this forum. And it's about.
Where's that at? I want to send it to the poetess.
Yeah, this is.
What page is
it's
that?
It's going to be at McCarthy.
No, I'm talking about what you're looking at. Is that the picture?
Yeah, the flyer.
Can you text it to
there's
me?
a Facebook page, and I'll text this.
We're working it out.
Oh yeah.
To get you the information.
Yeah.
Viewers.
Yeah, I'll text this to you.
Okay, so John, hold your announcement. Here's Reverend Jesse Jackson at the embassy in D.C.
We'll take the food here. All right, give him. Give him to the police. Give him. Arrest him.
Mr. Jackson. Okay, we got it. Arrest him.
Wow, look at that. We got food here. Yay!
Let us remain nonviolent and focused. Let us not engage in violence, even violent rhetoric. Our mission is to pull the sides together, not to expand war. If we're successful, both sides should be able to. If Mr. Trump can go to North Korea and meet with the foes there, he can meet with foes in Venezuela. This is our hemisphere. Venezuela means too much to America and to the world.
Been successful in getting food into that embassy. We thank you.
We should bring both sides to the table. Let the UN be a partner. This is not a unilateral decision. The UN should be a factor. The UN will not suggest overthrowing the government. It will not work. Invasion, occupation will not work, nor is it necessary to work. We need the UN. The UN is a factor involved. Pull together war, in fact, and negotiate it out and don't shoot it out. We cannot further starve. But Venezuela needs food and water, not bullets and bombs. We must stop the war in Venezuela.
Okay, Rupley, thank you so much for that clip of Reverend Jackson. Reverend Jackson is on the case. Go ahead, Reverend Jesse Jackson. We're going to send you. But that's amazing. I would like to know what the viewers think. What do you think about what you saw there, the battle that they're having to get food in? So what I saw was Reverend Jackson's delegation hoisting because they have this kind of bucket and rope situation because of the how volatile it is. So they're trying to send food up, and I'm still in disbelief that the police officers there allowed opposition to come and try to take the food.
Right. Yeah, they were. See, this was interesting because before Jackson was, they wouldn't allow anyone anywhere near the embassy to be able to give food or anything like that. But because of the stature of and the international recognition of Reverend Jackson, they felt like they had to let him go up there.
Good
but
job.
This opposition, this racist opposition, came and they tried to grab the food from him. So the reason they were throwing a rope from the window is because that's the only way they could try to get food. And they had a little backpack or something, and he'd fill the backpack with the food, and they could rope it back up. But so they were trying to take it away from him. And there was a grouping. That's what I mentioned. The folks from the Black Alliance for Peace. There was a grouping that were trying to get him, this opposition person, off of stop assaulting Jesse Jackson.
He should have even been in the perimeter.
Yeah. And the police just stood by and watched. They didn't do anything. They the violence against us. It doesn't matter.
Wow. Wow. I want to say thank you so much to Maggie. I do not want to mispronounce Maggie. I'm going to try to say it. Vascasino. Yes, that's what I said. What did he say? Thank you. She sent the flyer that John's talking about. So we want to thank you all. Thank you, viewers. You want to go ahead and announce that event that's being hosted for Haiti. Here it is. There it is, John. Look at that.
Oh, there it is, right there. Good. Yeah. So, like I said, this came from a delegation from Margaret Prescott,
always on it,
from Sojourner Truth on KPFK, and Pierre Labossiere was one of the leaders of the Haiti Action Committee, and everybody knows Danny Glover,
that's right,
the actor, the humanitarian.
Color purple.
Yes, and they all went to Haiti and got testimony and got evidence about the massacres that are currently going on. The protests against the puppet Moise government, and it's atrocious massacres that have been going on.
Yeah,
so
why again? Why go into that again?
Yeah,
why?
And that's going to be on June 15th, and that's going to be at the McCarty
Memorial Christian Church.
Yeah,
and the address is gone, but it's there. Share the replay. There it is.
Yeah, should I give
4103 West Adams Boulevard, McCarty Memorial Christian Church, right here, 4103 West Adams Boulevard.
And if you want more information, should I give the phone number?
Yeah, 323-276-9833. Go ahead,
Great.
John. Take it away.
That's it.
Okay. And the flyer's there, so that means you got to look at the show.
Yeah, and
with these massacres.
Yeah, and like we've been saying, this is stuff that's been going. I wrote an article about this once, and I started off talking about Ralph Ellison's book, The Invisible Man. And it seems like things that especially affect African people, the media just wants to just white them out. So it's just invisible.
Wow.
And these are protests that have been massive protests that have been going on since last summer, and they're not being reported. And these massacres are not being reported. And the U.S. is directly responsible for the massacring of children and innocent people.
Wow.
But it's something, though. The Haitian people are so resilient, like the Palestinian people. They refuse to stop fighting, and they're continuing to fight. They just need the solidarity of the people here, like we want the people to be in solidarity with Venezuela and the people in Haiti as well. They need solidarity. And so
continual. We cannot forget. You know, I want to say much respect to our brother, Joseph Mackendal, Joseph Champagne Mackendal, who is our representative for Minister Farrakhan, that's doing a lot of work in Haiti, as well as Brother Patrick Muhammad, our 7th Region student minister, and many, many, many more. Speaking of the uprising and the massacres, I want to come from the same Final Call article I read before, Brother John, if I could add to what you're saying, that they are... Okay, not now. Go away. In a grim episode, this article talks about in November 2018 how heavily armed police and criminal gang members recruited by the police and given police uniforms unleashed a horrific massacre in the community of La Saline. And that's the center or a center of the Lavalas movement. And so the report is that well over 70 people were killed at the hands of police and their armed agents. They went door to door. They slaughtered whole families. They gang raped women, burned homes, terrorized the community. And the Haiti Action Committee reports that as a final assault, they fed some of the dead bodies to pigs. I couldn't even finish it. They fed some of the dead bodies to pigs, a message sent to dramatize the utter disregard with which this current government views the Haitian people. Oh, my gosh. So we must pray, continue to pray for Haiti, but not just pray, do something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and the Lavalas organization created by Jean-Bertrand Aristide was basically, he's a Father Aristide, priest, father, right? Priest, father. Oh, I hope I got that right. Sorry.
I'm going to check it out. You know, I like to check it out.
All right. But he started a whole movement that was to support the poor in Haiti and to build up the solidarity, but sovereignty of the Haitian people. There were a lot of economic policies starting, I think it's around the 1900s, that the U.S. Invasions of Haiti and occupations of Haiti that set up an economic system whereby the West would benefit and the Haitian people wouldn't. And the crops and the agriculture that they produced would only benefit the Western countries, but not Haiti, and creating this horrible level of poverty, which the Lavalas organization was trying to alleviate and trying to set up a new government of the people. And he was actually elected. And
once again,
and the U.S. actually physically went over there and kidnapped him once.
The man.
Right.
And yes, he was a Catholic. I don't want to say was, but a Roman Catholic.
Yeah. And so
kidnapped him.
Yeah, kidnapped him to try to stop him. I think they took him to the Central African Republic, and thanks to I don't agree with everything that our sister does, but Maxine Waters is courageous. Actually, yes. Maxine Waters came on this delegation to the latest delegation with Margaret to Haiti as well.
Haiti. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Maxine's got some integrity, She
and she's not scared.
And she was responsible for getting Father Aristide back and not getting killed.
That's right.
From the Central African
That's
Republic.
right. I will not forget. That's right. That's right.
So that's the Lavalas movement, and that's what the U.S. is trying to fight against. Anybody who's trying to fight to liberate people from starvation and poverty, you can bet that the U.S. government is going to be after.
John, I can't let the white liberals off the hook. Okay? We got to talk about their role in this, the Clintons and so forth and so on.
Oh, yeah.
In the demise of Haiti and all in these other avenues that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
How we could think that people are fighting with us on one hand, but on the other hand, the knife is in the back.
That's right. Yeah, some of those economic policies that I was talking about that created a economic structure that, like the fair trade and NAFTA and all those kinds of things, so-called fair trade, which just give an advantage to the U.S. agriculture industries. While I think President Clinton was subsidizing agriculture here so that they could undercut the price in Haiti. And bankrupt the producers in Haiti.
That's
and
right.
So and then allow aid that makes you dependent on the U.S., but you can't build up your own industry and your own agriculture. That's partly what President Clinton had done. But all these policies, the Republicans and Democrats, they're all the same. They all
absolutely
in some ways in terms of international terrorism, they're all the same. I mean, even the Obama administration, which is responsible for putting AFRICOM into Africa. But in Honduras, Hillary Clinton and Obama were the ones who helped design that 2009 coup. And look at Honduras today. It's nothing but violence. Many 20 or so people get killed every day in Honduras, and people are trying to escape the violence because they had a president, Zelaya, who was a socialist, who was running for president, and the U.S. didn't like that. So they said, we have to get rid of him. We have to have a coup.
Yeah, and fled to where? Because if they're coming here, we see what's happening at the border, right? Have you been down there where people are caged? And now out there? Can you tell me, is there any validity to the forced vaccinations? I'm hearing rumors about that, but I don't want to really talk about it unless we got the info. I
haven't been close enough to the issue to know.
Okay.
But I did go I went there with Sister Guerline Joseph, who's part of Haiti Bridge, and she led a delegation to go to we saw some of the Haitian refugee areas.
That's right.
There,
Let us not forget. And see, this is why we must remember that there is a unification and we are a family. There's not a difference between black and brown. We know, right? We know that there are some issues, neighbor to neighbor, community to community. I hear people talk about jobs and nepotism and all these other different things, anti-advocacy, right? My own word. But at the end of the day, those are manufactured, they're made.
Right.
And I'm being very careful because people are in pain, but there is a hidden hand, we're taught, that's at the root of that.
Right.
So when we think about what's happening at the border, when we think about President Trump talking about building a wall to keep people out, and we see children in these aluminum or whatever you want to call them, silver blankets, know that we care because it's humanity, right? It's humane to care, but we care because it's with the 17, with the 2 million Indians, but we also care because we have our own black immigrants. And I think it's all black. It's all original. Mm-hmm. They are original people that are fleeing war-torn countries. Mm-hmm. But on a real level, to break it down just in terms of the landmass, like we have people from these African nations mm-hmm. trying to get through as well.
Right. That's right.
And so if our brown brother is catching heat down there, what's really happening to the black man?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's true. And when you go down to Tijuana, because we were there to help give mm-hmm. aid and money or what little we could, mainly just to try to build solidarity and awareness of what's going on at the border. And you see the horrible, not only, everybody from the Haitian people to the folks from Honduras and Central America, and everyone is, you have children, sleeping on floors because there's no other way they can. But also the folks who get over here and get into detention centers. Yeah. There's so many children who have died right now because of the situations from lack of health care, lack of good food, or being too cold. But there are so many children every day that are. I don't know if it's every day, but it's a phenomenon that's it's a horrible crime against children.
I read reports of sexual abuse mm-hmm. and also of missing children.
Yeah, yeah.
Like numbers and numbers of missing children.
Like you said, this is happening to black and brown children. And you know what really scares them? What really scared them was in the 60s when the Black Panther Party was around. And then that scared them enough, but even more so was that then there's the brown berets and the young lords and all these brown sisters and brothers deciding that they're in solidarity and they're inspired by the Black Panther Party. So this black and brown unity was getting strong.
Talk about it, yeah. And Chairman Fred's ability to pull in the poor whites.
That's right. Chairman Fred, that's important. Because
Hey, Chairman Fred Jr., Assalamu alaikum, all power to the people, brother.
That's true. Because that's an important point, because white supremacy is a tool in order to oppress all nationalities of the working class. Yeah, that's the tool. They most acutely pointed at black and brown folks, but it's really a tool against our entire working class. But that scared the heck out of them, that unity. Yeah. So they had to figure out a way to stop that unity. So we're going to have some jobs. We're going to give these folks some jobs, maybe not give it to these folks, maybe do this and set up these neighborhoods in such a way. And but people can't fall for it, Yeah. Because we all have the same enemy. We all have the same enemy. We got to fight together.
Do you see the change happening, though? Like, you see the resurrection taking place? Mm-hmm. It's phases and phases. Like, more and more you hear people talking about doing for self, coming together, uniting, pooling resources, and helping out.
Right. Right.
So, Brother John, take 10 seconds and close out. Okay. Anything you want the people to know? I posted the flyer several times, by the way.
You got the flyer. I probably some important things that I missed. But I guess the main thing is that, like we said, this news that's most pertinent to our lives is invisible. So we got to stay tuned to shows like this. We got to stay tuned to many other resources. And if I can give one little another media, the one that I write for is Struggle La Lucha.
Oh, right.
And you can go to strugglelalucha.org and find out a lot of the information. I've got some articles on Haiti, and we have some great articles from Cheryl Labash on Venezuela and many other good places to get information, in addition to the Final Call and other places. There are folks out here, there are some revolutionaries out of here are trying to get out the truth.
Oh, yeah.
And we got to get that truth, and we got to come together, because how many of you are so sick and tired of seeing our black children being shot down by these, can I say pigs? I just did.
We said it earlier in the article about Haiti. It's a thing.
Yeah. I mean,
You're so kind.
These cops, they can't get away with doing what they're doing. And this genocide against black people, we've got to stop it. But it's only going to stop if we come together. And we got to get the right information. And don't parrot the takes by the Trump administration or the news that you see. Talk to the folks who've been involved in the issues, like Sister Charlene here, and And let's fight together. I think that's
I like that. Let's fight together. Thank you, John. Thank you for coming. Oh, John always answers the call. So I'm just going to say real quick, thank you so much for being here, John Parker. Remember, finalcall.com for this week's cover story on reparations 2020. Read that. Finalcall.com. Hashtag NOI Sundays to hear the lectures of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's helpers across the country. That's international as well. And of course, follow him on Twitter at Louis Farrakhan. He's lifetime banned from Facebook, but we say you can't ban God. We want you to keep promoting and posting messages of the minister. I want you to go to morrismedialive.com, spread the word about the channel, also kpfk.org and radiojustice.org. I'm back on Friday and Saturday morning. Thank you so much, Sister Felicia, the Poetess Morris, owner right here at Morris Media Studios, and meet me at the mosque, in the words of Brother Abdul Malik Saeed Muhammad, this Sunday, 10:30, the doors open. We go live at 11 o'clock. That's 8701. John, you going to come be my guest?
Sure. That sounds great.
With John. 8701 South Vermont at Manchester. I'm Sister. Oh, my God. Look, please do yourself a favor. NOI.org. Press replay here. Minister Farrakhan's National Assistant Student Minister Ishmael Muhammad break down so much knowledge and information, and the student ministers before him. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad saying, if it's impacting our community or can uplift us as a people, let's talk about it. Peace.